Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter Rise, and today I'm going to be bringing you my Fish Skewer Lance build. Now, this particular build is going to be a little bit different than the previous builds that I've put on the channel, which you could use to hunt just about any monster that you wanted, and the fact that this build is a lot more specialized, and you're going to want to be using it against aquatic type creatures. Now, this whole thing began when I wanted to do an elemental build for the Lance as opposed to a traditional raw damage build, just because I like elemental damage a lot, and I think that the Lance is a really good elemental weapon. So I went through the list and I was like, okay, I want to do a Thunder elemental Lance, and I opted by going with the Despot's Cacophony. Now this is Zinogre's Lance, and it's got a lot of raw, it's got a decent amount of thunder, it's got blue sharpness, and it has 2 slots. It doesn't have any negative affinity or any positive affinity. We're not going to be focusing on affinity at all in this build, so I realized that for a lot of you guys like, oh, but you need to put weakness exploit and critical items. I don't care. Okay, I really don't care. That's not what this is for. I'm trying to basically specialize this against monsters that are weak to thunder, and I'm not really concerning myself too much about dealing critical damage. So that is the weapon that we are using, and when I picked up the Despot Cacophony, I noticed that one of the Rampage slots said anti-aquatic species. And most aquatic species are also weak to thunder. So that makes sense. And I was like, you know what? Let's go with that. Let's make this about just anti-aquatic monsters. Stuff like Mizutsune, stuff like Juratotus, stuff like, any other aquatic monster that you can think of. This Lance is going to pretty much get the job done. Now let's look at the armor pieces that we have here. And we have the Juratotus Helm, the Diablos Mail S, the Diablos Van Bracers S, the Anjanath Coil, which I gotta be honest, it's very hard to get away from Anjanath's Coil just because it gives you 2 points of attack and really, really good slots. So I think that the Anjanath Coil is going to be something that we're going to be seeing in a lot of sets. As a matter of fact, even in a previous set where I didn't use it, I think it might have been the Sword and Shield set, I didn't use Anjanath Coil, and then I realized, wow, Anjanath Coil is just way better than Rathalos for just about 99% of situations. So, yeah. Anjanath Coil, and then we have Diablo Greaves. I'm using Demon Petalace to get as much damage as possible. And when it comes to a charm, I'm still using my Razor Sharp 2 charm because that is one of my best charms. And I hope you guys have some Razor Sharp charm to allow you to kind of like build your own sets. As otherwise, yeah, you're gonna run into problems because Razor Sharp is definitely something that is very useful, particularly for weapons, that may struggle a little bit with sharpness, which is not necessarily the case of this Lance, but still, after quite a few strikes, you're going to be needing to sharpen, and having a little bit of Razor Sharp does help out immensely. Now let's talk decorations. On the weapon itself, we're going to be putting 2 bolt jewels. On the Juratotus Helm, we're going to be putting a jumping jewel and a bolt jewel. On the Diablos Mail, we're going to be putting another bolt jewel. Diablos Van Braces, attack jewel and bolt jewel. And the Anjanath Coil, we're going to go with another attack jewel, a diversion jewel, and a drain jewel. Now, the diversion jewel is in there just in case you're playing in multiplayer. It makes it, a little bit easier for you to get more aggro than your friends, even though diversion, from my experience, doesn't really appear to do that much. But, it also makes it easier for you to get, like, your anchor range counters if the monster focuses on you more. So that's just the idea there. You kind of work as the tank. You also have Twin Vines if you want to use that, even though I don't really like Twin Vines very much, so, whatever. But yeah, and then you have a Drain Jewel, just because I do quite a significant amount of shield bashing with this build. So, a Drain Jewel in there is just going to increase the amount of stamina that we steal from the monster by doing that. Then we have another jumping decoration in there because I do like having max evade extender when playing with Lance. I know that some people don't care for it. I think that if you're using dash attack, you don't need it as much, but because I'm using guard dash, then yes, I need to be able to move around as much as I possibly can. And then in the necklace, obviously we need the mandatory brace jewel for the Lance because, if you're playing multiplayer at all with a Lance and you don't have a brace jewel, it's literally unplayable. It's even with a brace jewel, depending on the composition of your team, it's hard enough to play a Lance because people will screw up your counters all the damn time. Even just in 2-player mode, I would constantly be getting my counter triggered early because someone would hit me with their weapons while I was blocking. And I was like, no, you screwed up my counter. Then I would get hit. So Brace Jewel, pretty much mandatory if you intend to do any multiplayer whatsoever with the Lance. You put all that together and you get Thunder Attack level 5, Attack Boost level 4, Offensive Guard level 3, Guard level 3, Evade Extender level 3, Razor Sharp level 2, Stamina Thief 1, Wide Range, which comes from my Razor Sharp Charm, Flinch Free, and Diversion. So the idea here is you couple together all of that Thunder Attack, which most aquatic species are vulnerable to. You add to that already the additional damage that you do to aquatic species because of the Rampage skill, and you're going to be dishing out a lot of punishment on any monster that is weak to Thunder, and most aquatic monsters are weak to Thunder, so you just kind of like double up on that. You're going to be dishing out a significant amount of damage. Then on top of it, you still have Attack Boost level 4, which is still a significant amount of attack boost. You have Offensive Guard, which will increase your attack even more. You have regular guard so that you can block, because like I said, I don't like insta-block. I feel like the timing for insta-block is way too tight, which means, and there's very little payoff for insta-guard, but this is just my opinion, so I end up just going with Guard 3, which lets you block most things while at the same time not completely negating the benefit of blocking really heavy attacks with Anchor Rage. Because, Anchor Rage, the power of that depends on how much the attack would have knocked you back, so putting up too much guard actually nerfs Anchor Rage a little bit. But, you get 3 guard, you can block most things without too many problems. You can get Offensive Guard to proc at the same time, which gives you additional damage. It's just very, very good. If you're good enough to play with Insta-Block, you might want to go for that, get rid of the guards and get something else, but you're talking about a completely different set at that point. Evade Extender 3, because I still don't feel like super familiar with the Lance and Rise, and it just almost feels like a necessity due to how little it moves, coupled together with the fact that the switch skill that I use is actually the shield charge, because like if I had guard dash, I don't think I'd need Evade Extender 3, but with shield charge, I want to make sure that I make up for the loss in mobility that you get from guard dash with more Evade Extender, because guard dash gives you more mobility than shield charge, but shield charge to me is just way more fun. But yeah, all of that stuff to me makes for an interesting Lance build. In terms of the other switch skills that I'm using Anchor Rage. For some reason, after playing more, I can't get into Spiral Thrust as much as I would like to. Like, in the training room, it feels fine, but when you're out in the open, a lot of times I end up just like dashing in random directions, because the window for inputting the next direction of the Spiral Thrust a little bit weird. The window for parrying is also a little bit weird, so I was like, let me try Anchor Rage, and then when I started doing Anchor Rage, I'm like, I'd rather stick to this, where I know that I initially said I think I said I liked Spiral Thrust more, but after testing it more, Anchor Rage is definitely my go-to right now. And then I have regular guard because, like I said, Insta-Block is something that I personally don't care for all that much. But yeah, overall, I find this build to be very, very fun without focusing on any of the meta skills. I think the only real meta piece in this armor set is the Anja Coil. It's going to be very hard to get away from Anja Coil, I feel like, if you want to have attack up in your set, because it's just the best bang for your buck when it comes to getting attack up on a set in the current version of the game, which is 1.1.2. But overall, still a very fun build. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit up with a like. If you did not enjoy this video, hit up with a dislike. Any suggestions that you have for the build, feel free to leave those in the comment section. I really appreciate the suggestions you guys left in the previous builds, because, it always helps adjusting a couple of things here or there. Like, I've changed around the Charge Blade build a little bit more to be more spammy and whatnot with some of the suggestions you guys gave me. So all of that stuff is always welcome, and that also allows fellow hunters that watch these videos later to just check out the comment section and be like, oh, maybe I could change this thing, it'll be better for me. But anyways, that's kind of like the basis of this Lance build. Obviously, it can be adapted to different elements and whatnot with a different Lance, but, you get the gist of it. Thank you for watching. See you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe, peace out.
See?